recording. Right, we are live on Facebook. We are live in Zoom. I am recording. It will be uploaded to the Zoco YouTube channel. How excited. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome Max Cooper, not Max Cloud. I keep calling him Max Cloud, but Max Cooper is all about the IT. So yeah, tell me briefly, so what Max Cloud, Max Cooper, what's that all about?
Max Cloud, I mean, you know, we work with the cloud technology, Office 365, so it seemed appropriate at the time when I started the business. But we've since changed it from Max Cloud to MCS ITS. So
you never thought about changing the name by default to Max Cloud?
No, not yet. Maybe soon.
Anyway, so Max is my guest on Monday afternoon. This is supposed to be when I ask members and I get them to send me list of questions, the frequently asked questions. Okay, but I know Max is a business. I've used people like Max. I've not used Max personally. Max and I've only been together a few months. We haven't met in person twice. Max, a proud member of Zoco. So I've had a business. I've used people like Max, and my word, they are invaluable. I tell you, once you have someone like Max, my word. So Max is all about the IT, all about the home business IT, helping the small business and working from the cloud. So tell me, first of all, tell me about your networking journey to date, and where do you find me and or Zoco?
Yes, I mean, I only really started networking in the last few months, really, and you know, obviously looking around at different groups and things like this, and there's some more serious than others, and some cost a bit more than others. And I think you popped up on LinkedIn, and I must admit, the first time I came into a Zoco meeting, I was blown away. I didn't know what was going on. It was madness across the board, and I loved it because it's just got such a great energy. You know, it's energizing. It keeps you going, and not only do you get the speed networking, but you get all the check-ins, you know. And when you work on your own, when you're a sole trader, or you work here in your spare room with the cat, it's nice to interact with people, you know, who are not clients. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and you've been to an in-person meeting. We met a couple of times. He came to Oxshot. He came to Reigate. Sorry, you loved it, and you made some connections. That was great to see you, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, especially with lockdown and everyone being confined to their houses, it's just been nice to meet and make new connections, and all connections are good connections at the end of the day.
I suppose. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I suppose your market, your potential market, has suddenly quadrupled, hasn't it? Because everyone's been forced to work from home, kind of stuff. So to introduce your cat, you mentioned your cat. We see the cat quite a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the cat called?
It's Musa. He's here now.
Is that after a Tottenham player?
That is after a Tottenham player.
Called Musa Dembele.
Is correct, yes. Very sad, I know.
No, I thought he's a favourite player of yours, is he?
He was, yes.
He was, okay, Musa. Good. Okay, so how long have you been running your own IT business? How long has it been?
So I started in 2019.
Okay.
And I was sort of running it side by side. I had a full-time job, and you know, saw an opportunity to start helping some smaller businesses and stuff like that. And I had a few opportunities come my way, so it made sense to start things up. And then I took it full time in 2020 during lockdown.
Wow.
Which was you know, it was a weird transition for me because I've been working in the corporate environment for you know, over 15 years in IT support, and making that jump to running my own business was quite a shock, and especially during a very strange time during lockdown. So if I'm honest, really, I've only just started to get going now. Now things are opening back up. Now the world's becoming a little bit more normal with the networking and actually seeing people. So it's now starting to gather some pace, and you know, it's been nice. It's been nice because, you know, with a lot of people going out on their own, there's a massive need for that IT support, and you know, where we've been providing these home support packages or small business support packages, I've seen so much value for people where normally they would be charged, you know, an arm and a leg for a small job, and they may only need that job once a year. But then when we get them into a contract where they've got a small retainer, they're always supported no matter what. So they're not hit with that shock bill when something does eventually go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant business, brilliant. I mean, and so you did it. You worked for a large company, did you? For somebody else for a long time, doing this sort of stuff. Were you fixing the IT within one company?
Yeah, so I've worked in a number of different organisations, financial organisations, climate innovation. I've worked for IT companies, specific IT companies as well, where we serviced multiple vendors, multiple clients, and that's where I see my company going, where we, we'll have a number of different clients that we service, and as like a managed service provider. But I've also been on the other side of the fence, where I had a managed service provider who was providing service to my company. So I've seen it from both sides, and what I understand is the value of that customer service piece, and being able to, provide the right service to the customer.
Yeah, I find it fascinating. Obviously, what I do find fascinating is that you've been on both sides of the fence. I haven't been on both sides of the fence. I've always been my own boss my entire life, as it were, right from the age of 19. And so you work for a big company with security and safety and sick pay and holiday pay and all that kind of stuff. And now you've taken that leap into the one-man band world, okay, where all the decisions are yours. You can do as little work or as much work as you want to, okay? But at the end of the day, all the benefits, all the profits are all yours. And that is fabulous. And your service, what you offer, is just invaluable. We all need someone like you, because we're all on computers. We need, So tell me about your connection with the cloud. I mean, I think we understand the cloud. It's not a cloud. There are servers somewhere, but we think it's all up, say, the mystical cloud. So tell us about your connection with the cloud and why the cloud is so important to you.
Well, I mean, it's just the availability of it, and especially for small businesses. Where I worked in huge organisations before, where they would employ 50 IT guys to keep their services up and running. There would be a server room, and people would be looking after these boxes day in, day out. I mean, I remember people going in and kicking the power cable out of them, and the whole business went down for a day without you even realising that someone's kicked a power cable out. And obviously, with everything in the cloud, you've got that safety net of it all being hosted by Microsoft. They guarantee a 99.99% uptime of their service. You're not reliant on one IT guy who could make a mistake. These data centers are fully operated and looked after 24/7. It's huge. They run a vast amount of businesses across the world. So what you're doing is taking it from a box that might be in your office and actually giving it to the professionals. You're giving it to Microsoft. They look after it. They maintain the hardware. If you were to have that server in your office, you've got to maintain it and upgrade it and keep it running. And there's such a cost to that. Whereas when it's with Microsoft, you're getting the latest and greatest and the most up to date and the most secure, and it's there and done for you. And that's the beauty of it. You're taking away some of that responsibility out of your own hands, and that point of error or failure, and you're giving it to the professionals. And then what we do is just help you understand that, or help you get that service. So bringing it to you and helping you understand how it can work. And the biggest thing about it now with Office 365 is the productivity tools. So not just your email and data, it's all of the other things you get with it. There is a booking system like Calendly. There is a Trello style planner boards. There are so many different tools within there, all wrapped up in one place, nice and secure. Whereas, I see a lot of small businesses have gone out and they will have multiple different services all running side by side, when in reality you could have that all under one roof.
Yes. No, I get that, and you've answered my next question. So it's not just email; it's any online product or service you use all under one umbrella.
Yeah, and there's a huge amount in there. We obviously used Zoom a lot, because Zoom has become very accessible during lockdown, and then they really hit the market and got to the top. But obviously Microsoft provide their own video conferencing tool called Microsoft Teams, which is not only video conferencing, but it's also a team working hub. Like I say, they've got a booking system in there, much like Calendly. They've got your Office suite that you would normally pay for on the side. You've got your email there. It's all in one place and all wrapped around with all of the security aspects of Microsoft that they provide. And we'll probably talk about cybersecurity in a minute, I'm sure, but it's very important to make sure that you understand that everything's secure and covered. Now, if you've got multiple different accounts, you're at more risk, because you're having to secure more things and more endpoints.
Yeah.
And then obviously have it in one place.
Yeah, and forgive me for asking the obvious question, but it doesn't matter what hardware we use, whether it's Mac or PC, does it?
No, no, absolutely not. No. So I mean, but the advancements with Office 365, and that, again, the beauty of Office 365 is that it's always improving. You know, they're always updating it, they're always keeping it fresh and adding new things. And with the Mac, with how it works on Mac, it's got so much better over the last few years. And you know, I've come up against this a number of times where people use their MacBooks and go, oh, you know, Office doesn't work very well, and that's all come on leaps and bounds now. So it all works across the board. And not only that, you can access all of this stuff from a web browser as well. So the accessibility of it is great. You know, once you're in that cloud, it's all there. You can go to another machine. You can go into the internet cafe. You can use your partner's machine and still have access to all of your emails, all of your data, all of the tools that you use to do your day-to-day work. So you're not just confined to your one machine these days. And that's another thing that we try and show people is the accessibility. You know, I mean, a couple of weeks ago I went on holiday and I was working from the side of the pool from a machine that I rarely use. I took my MacBook Air out with me because it was nice and light, and I sat by the side of the pool and I ran my business from there because I could just log in via a portal and have access to everything that I needed.
Yeah, and you touch upon the cybersecurity. I mean, obviously that is all included with the 365. And what are the major problems with cybersecurity at the moment, and how are people being hacked?
I mean, it's an ongoing thing. I mean, we're seeing a lot of accounts being hacked across the board, even if Office 365. You know, I was speaking to a guy the other day who came to the Reigate meeting who that day had been hacked, and they had got into everything. And he was using a password manager, and they got into all of his accounts. And then he actually ran his own networking group on Facebook, and he had to shut it down and restart it. You know, it could have been catastrophic for him because it could have taken his whole business down. But there are so many things going on at the moment, and one of the things I try and preach to people is that, again, it's that awareness of how and what the risks are. And I always say this to people: the first line of defense is you. Being aware that these things can happen to anyone. You know, these are not just happening to big companies. They're not just targeting big companies. They will target the small independents or smaller organizations because they're easier to hack, because they might not have that security layer in place. You know, you might just be using a Gmail and a Dropbox, and none of that is connected. You know, whereas if you use Office 365, you know, it's all wrapped around in one security bucket, security layer. Obviously, the first thing we always set up for people is that there's multi-factor authentication, which eradicates nearly 90% of those attacks, because they need to authenticate via a mobile app or a phone number.
Yes, I do that on my. I know that mine is not perfect, and I use it and obviously all these alarm bells are going off in my head. And I know that I back up my Mac to an external hard drive, which you love, but I do have second thing passwords for my emails and stuff. What cyber advice and stuff? I mean, do you offer for people? Do you have a package or something?
Yeah, so we've got a training package, an online training portal, which does a gap analysis on all aspects of cybersecurity, and that's a free gap analysis to anyone that wants to have a go at that. And it will show the areas of weakness in their knowledge. And again, it's about improving people's knowledge of the risks out there and what type of attacks can come to them. From there, it's £2 per user per month, so barely anything. And what it does is it will continually send you out training modules every month.
Cool.
To keep you up to date and keep you refreshed and keep you aware. And again, it's all about awareness. You're the first line of defense. If they get through your firewall, or if they send you a phishing email, it's just an email, it won't get picked up. You know, if they send you, I don't know, a text message that we see a lot of these days, and I'm sure everyone's had these text messages saying it's from HMRC and things like this. They're so very easy to misunderstand. And if you're a busy person, you see this message, you see a link, and you click on that link, you've potentially opened up all of your passwords. You know, you've allowed someone into your infrastructure, essentially. And again, it's about that awareness. It's being able to spot the attacks quickly. So with our YouSecure training platform, it will keep you aware and up to date with the fresh new styles of attacks. Not only that, within the tool for your bigger organizations, you can even create your own training. So let's say you are a small organization, and when you onboard your new staff, you have certain things that they need to check off, whether it be health and safety, or you might have a training course on how to be the best networker in the world. You can then create these training modules in there as well for your staff. So it's quite an interesting platform.
Yeah, and so presumably, if had someone set up a system with you with 365, most of the phishing emails don't get through to your system in the first place. Is that what you're saying? It stops.
Correct. Yeah. There's a certain amount of filtering on there, and again, we help with that filtering and making sure it's right. Now, you can't stop everything, unfortunately. If we could, phishing emails wouldn't be a thing. But unfortunately, obviously, these come from Hotmail accounts, Gmail accounts, and that's always a key indicator for me. If it's coming from a generic account, always be wary. It's about asking those questions. Should this person be emailing me? Should they be asking for that information? Who are they for a start? We see it all the time. People asking for a very common one is you see spoof emails now of let's say login pages or password pages, asking people to log into a service. And again, it's being aware that you shouldn't be asked to log into a service. You should be logging into your own services, and no one should be asking you for your password, basically.
Yeah. He wants to get involved, Musa, doesn't he? He don't want to be ignored, does he?
I know. Bless him.
Yeah, can I ask you a slightly personal question, because this is the kind of stuff that interests me. So, your earnings compared to your corporate days. I mean, it's very new, your business. It is great. But what are your plans for your business, and how's it going so far in a year?
Yes, it's been good. I'm certainly making more money than I was in my corporate.
Oh, that's great. That's what I wanted to find out. Brilliant.
Yeah, and I was at a reasonable level in my corporate. After 15 years of working my way up the ladder. So yeah, I can't complain. And next steps, we've been approved for a Kickstarter application. So I've got 2 job openings for business.
Excellent.
So we'll be bringing on an IT technician and a marketing and communications person. So hopefully, with the right people on board, we're going to start moving very quickly and expanding. And then plans are to, within the next 3 months, to be in our own office and really start to accelerate in that way. We've applied for some more funding, hopefully to help us get to get an apprentice on board as well. So soon it will be me and 3 others and the cat.
Brilliant. Tell me more about the Kickstarter thing. I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it. So this gives you a way to employ people at a reduced rate, and then the government pays them a salary, presumably. Yeah,
so it's a government incentive. I think it shuts at the end of next month. Now, so if people are interested, get on it quickly. You can find it via the Gov websites. But basically, the government will fund you £1,500 per person. So they give you a grant of £1,500 to obviously buy equipment, get that person set up in the organisation, and then what they'll do is they'll pay their minimum wage for 6 months, and it's a minimum of 25 hours a week. So if you get lucky, I think, and I've heard some very good success stories where people have got some really, really good people, and it's targeted at 18 to 24-year-olds, I think, who are out of work. So it's a great opportunity to get people back into work, and especially for young people as well. I did not go to college. I did not go to university. I was straight into work at 18 years old in an office, and I was lucky I got an opportunity there, and I was lucky I got pushed into an IT role from the post room. So I started in the post room, and they saw I had a bit more aptitude about me, and they pushed me into an IT support role. So, it's good to give people those opportunities, especially when they're young, because if they take them, they can end up doing really, really well.
That is exciting time. I'm going to be here enjoying every second of your success. So really, really good to hear. Remind me, we mentioned it on the meeting a couple of times, and I've used people. So remind people about your remote help you can give people.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, we provide remote support across the board. I mean, so one of my biggest clients, they're a charity based in London, but all across Africa. So we support nearly 300 users for that company, and I would say 30% of those are based across Africa, and we do a lot of remote support for those people. But also what we set up during lockdown, seeing the market for it, is those home support packages or small business support packages. So for £20 per user per month, you get unlimited remote support from myself, and that just helps those small businesses eradicate those pain points when they do come across. Because, like I said, 9 times out of 10, you only contact IT support when something's broken or something's not working, and it's normally business critical. And what normally happens is they hit these IT companies who will charge them, you know, a hefty sum for a very small amount of work, and it generally leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. So, you know, where I come out of that corporate environment, and I've been on service desks for half my life, you know, I saw an opportunity where we could create that at a low income, like a low cost, almost like the amount of a phone contract. But then it gives you that peace of mind that you've got someone on the end of the phone. And not only do we provide or do we market it as IT support, but I like to market it as almost sort of your virtual CTO. So any questions you might have, can we do this? How do we do this? Max, I've been thinking about this. Do you have any ideas? It's not just, hi Max, this is broken, can you fix it? You know, I more want to be there as that person who can provide advice and help small businesses thrive and use technology and get the most out of it, because that's what it's there for, and that's, you know, that's what I really buzz off. Yeah,
and these computers, these charity computers, I mean, what kind of issues are you you're helping them with? Is this
yeah? So they're my initial first customer, and we took it was a mixture of 4 charities, all with email hosted and data hosted in different separate places. We migrated them all into Office 365 into one place, and then we helped set up Office 365 on their machines, install the applications. If they do have any issues with their machines, then we help with those. We've actually provided nearly 50 laptops to them, which are all managed, all secured by Microsoft tools that we put in place, which means if, let's say, especially for the guys in Africa, this happens quite a lot, their laptops are stolen. And obviously for GDPR reasons or data protection reasons, they might have company data on those machines. So what we can do with the tools that we set them up with is we can wipe that machine remotely if it was to be lost or stolen.
Clever stuff. I've got a million and one stories for you. I've been using a computer obviously for ever and ever and ever. I think my biggest problem has always been connecting the printer to my computer. My word, that is a nightmare. I tell you, let's not even go there. I mean, so several people watching us on the Facebook group. I mean, Alex comments on the 365. She says an amazing business tool, managed well as a game changer. People just don't know enough about all the amazing tools they already have, and hence they can save pounds and pounds and pounds. So that's Office 365. I mean, we need to talk clearly. I'm paying for some data storage with someone. That's an Apple thing, I think. So I need to come across to you. Remind me again how much your data storage system is.
So first of all, Office 365, there's a number of different license SKUs in there, but I think you can pay for Office 365 business standard for £12 per month, which gives you over a terabyte of storage for data. But then also what we promote is to also have a cloud backup solution in place, and this is a recommendation from Microsoft themselves. So Microsoft recommend themselves that if you're storing large amounts of data in Office 365, you should also be backing that up as well. So the backup solution runs at 20p per gigabyte per month, which is pence, literally pence. And what that obviously gives you is it gives you, again, that safety net. Let's say, worst case scenario, your Office 365 did get hacked into. They did get through. You didn't have multi-factor authentication on, or there was some malware or a virus that got into it. It corrupted your data. Or most recently, I saw someone get stung with a ransomware attack, where they locked down all of their files, so they couldn't access any of their files, and they requested money off them. Now, you've got 2 options there. You pay the money, or you try and fix that solution. Now, if you had a backup storage in place, you could close that down and then fully restore it from that previous day. And another misconception is that, you know, Office 365 or G Suite back up your data, which they don't. And they generally, Office 365 for sure, only has 90 days restoration point from the recycle bin. So if you accidentally delete something or something is deleted and after 90 days you realise you wanted it back, you're not getting it back. So again, having that backup in place can be crucial, especially for growing businesses as well. You know, and again, a lot of the time I try and promote this to people is that if you get these things in place early doors at the start, it makes life a lot easier when you do start to scale.
So 20p per gig per month, yeah. And it's nothing. You know, I've got a number of clients who've sort of got maybe 100, 200 gigabytes in their Office 365 tenants, and you know they're paying 20, 30 pounds per month to back it all up. And for that 20, 30 pounds, you're protecting your business, you're protecting your data. And you know, I know a lot of clients. I've got some clients who are virtual assistants or you know, finance, accounting, and they're looking after business critical information on their clients, whether that be, you know, names and addresses or even bank account details and stuff like that. So important to make sure that stuff's safe, because you know, you could potentially be not only losing your own data but losing client data, which can obviously be a massive risk. My headphones are playing a bit. You're suddenly come very loud. A piece of before we close in a second, do you have any words of wisdom, piece of advice that people should be? For the first piece of advice, should we have a chat with you, obviously, and do your cyber? Would you call it?
Yeah, cybersecurity. So it's called U-Secure. So please do get in touch for a free gap analysis quiz, which again will show you where your gaps in knowledge are for cybersecurity and that risk. Also, please get in touch for a free Office 365 demo where we can take you through the tools and show you how you may have 5 or 6 tools that you're currently using that can all be in one place. But then a bit of advice or words of wisdom, like I said earlier, and I sound like I'm repeating myself, but the first line of defense is yourself against cyber security. And also make sure you're resetting passwords or changing passwords on a annual basis. You know, have a think. Don't have passwords that are all the same. We see it so many times. You'll all use the same password 123, password 123 exclamation mark. If you are using passwords like that, go and change them. Make them complicated, and where you can on all systems, set up multi-factor authentication. All of these things are just very, very simple, and they sound like a lot of effort because you're going to have to change passwords, but in the long run, you know, it's protecting yourself.
Max, I really enjoyed this chat. I'm going to say I'm going to end. You're a member of the growing Zoco Tottenham Hotspur fan club, aren't you? A whole number of you. What is it with you? Honestly, how long have you been a Tottenham fan? All your life, presumably.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Father Tottenham fan.
No, unfortunately, he's a Chelsea fan. So.
All right, well, Mac, it's been lovely chatting to you. I'll drop your website details on there. I'll drop your link below this chat. Okay. Thank you. I mean, it's a pleasure meeting you, mate. A pleasure. I mean, thank you so much for joining Zoco. I mean, I love having you on board. I mean, you know, just have a one-to-one with Max. Clearly, I need to have another one-to-one with you because I'm doing stuff and I need to back up stuff. And I do have 365. Long story. Okay. I have the Office thing, whatever. We'll talk and you'll sort my stuff out. Okay. Now let me turn that off.